When I received the next speaker's bio, I was in awe. This iconoclastic first generation professional has navigated 14 job titles, 8 industries, and 3 careers over a 22-year period. So she understands a thing or two about constantly reinventing yourself to meet the changing demands of the working world. A passionate speaker, writer, trainer, and facilitator, Cheryl Bernardi has over 2 decades of work experience in the fields of journalism, communication, publishing, training and development, and fundraising. After a decade in higher education, primarily raising funds for bursaries for first generation students, she developed key insights into the workplace training needs of graduates. The current rates of suicide among 15 to 24-year-olds is showing us that providing money for education is only part of the solution to job creation. She says, we also need to help young people develop resilience and learn how to live, love, and work from a place of wholeness. I'm just going to repeat that. We also need to help young people develop resilience and learn how to live, love, and work from a place of wholeness. I would like to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on Cheryl's philosophy on helping our youth? Send in your comments in the chat box using the hashtag success is better shared. Welcome, Cheryl.
Thank you so much for that awesome introduction. I think when you were speaking about all the stuff I've done, I feel like, is that me? Because I feel like I'm just getting started. So I'm going to quickly start sharing my screen because I have a presentation to go through this. And you have been warned. I am also a former fundraiser. So I will be reminding you that whenever you've received your bursary, you've always had this feeling like, when I have money, I am going to support the foundation that's helped me. And so I just want to encourage you, we're waiting until we have like R1,000,000 to give or like 100,000 Rand, then we can give. Start giving with what you have, because when you start giving with what you have, you get more to give. So let me get into the session today. I've been thinking about what would be the best thing to share with this group. So I've worked at the University of Johannesburg, the University of Pretoria, and Stellenbosch University. And in that time, I've met hundreds of students like myself, the first in their families to actually get a university degree and starting out into becoming a white collar professional, which is very different from what their families were used to in terms of blue collar workers. And so I've noticed the same feeling I was feeling of I was on the outside looking in, feeling like I don't really belong here. This feeling was echoed by many students as well. And so what I've been trying to do at Whole Person Academy is to try and help first generation professionals specifically find out that they actually are quite resilient, they have amazing talents and abilities, and that they have a right and permission to be in the workplace. So I want this to be a very interactive session. If I am sharing something and you feel like this resonates with you, I want you to raise your hand, give me a thumbs up or a comment or a question in the chat, and we will have a time to kind of go through that at the end of the session. So 2020, this is a year that no one wanted to have. It's a nightmare that we shared with people around the world. And so what should be this exciting, exhilarating time of being able to start your journey into the world of work can be filled with a bit of shadows and fears. And so today I want to try and inspire you to face the future without fear. I think you probably know the stat by now. With all of the global loss of livelihoods due to COVID-19, young people are actually most affected because of the entry-level opportunities that are now no longer being available. And so there's just scarcity in the world in terms of opportunity, or so it seems. So what are your 3 primary fears? If I could sit down and have coffee with you, obviously mask on, you would tell me, Cheryl, these are the things I'm scared about. Will I be okay? Will I get a job? And will I ultimately be successful? So think of this as a group coaching session this morning as we start to really unpack what these fears are about. So I've been working for 22 years. And what I've noticed is that there's always a sense of people feeling like they have to separate themselves, like they have to be professional at work, even though there's certain things that they are facing in their personal life, and they can never really bring the two together. So what's been interesting and possibly positive from this whole COVID, having to work from home, is that there's a growing consciousness of having to support the whole person in the workplace. Now that the lines between personal life and professional lives have been officially blurred, we can see that we have to understand who is this professional coming into the workplace, what's driving them, what's motivating them, what are some of their fears, what are some of their challenges, and how can we help to support that. So I'm excited because I can definitely see that it's time for a wholeness revolution. So what is wholeness, you might be asking? Well, anything that's disconnected from a part of your inner being. So how you are in your relationships with yourselves and with other people impacts the way that you will interact with your colleagues. It impacts the way that you will spend your money. The way that you spend your money or mismanage your money will definitely impact the way that your relationships are working out, and also your career. So when these things are actually flowing together in harmony, we have a sense of wholeness. If there's a crisis in any area, perhaps a personal crisis in your family or friendship circle, it affects the way that you are able to perform in the workplace. It maybe impacts as well your finances and puts a strain on it. So wholeness is trying to find out how can we grow in these areas so that we build inner harmony. If you look at the critical skills that are needed in the new world of work, most of them, the ones that have been highlighted in red, are actually hard stuff. The technical skills are your head stuff, right? So how to work with people, how to solve problems, how to be creative, how to be proactive and not passive in the world of work. These are things that have to tap into your inner self, who you really are, your character. And so wholeness is more about how do I become the person I need to become in order to be successful in this new turbulent world that I'm faced with. So let's talk about the first question. Will I be okay? And I just want to say that even though maybe your parents don't understand or you feel like no one really gets it, I just want to say, I see you. I know it's been difficult to get to this point, dealing with the financial stresses, um, making sure that you are actually able to complete your studies. So well done on making it to this point. As you look around and you see that perhaps I'm not sure how to take the next step, I want you to find ways to deal with this anxiety, to deal with this uncertainty. What's sad for me is that you probably have missed out on this beautiful moment of being able to throw your hats up in the air and shout and scream and have this jubilant, I made it, I did it, with your family. So hopefully vicariously we're helping you to have this moment of celebration, because it has been an amazing feat that you've done. It's been a victorious journey that you've been on. But as you are excited about this, and I know people that unfortunately have really suffered with a lot of mental health challenges. Perhaps you know of people in your friends or family circle that have died by suicide because the pressures were too much. And so I just want to encourage you in this moment that if you are facing these challenges, if you are feeling like something's sitting on your chest and you can't feel like you're breathing, please reach out, because I know the people at PBS, they care. They will find a way to help you. They will find a way to listen. And I think you're very privileged to be part of this network, because there are many opportunities for us to be able to reach in and actually find help. And sometimes we just feel like we want to do it alone, but you don't have to. I think some of the reasons for this anxiety is this is the conventional pathway. This is what we've been doing in terms of how we've been told life is. We have to do well at school. We have to go to university. We have to get a job. We have to get promoted, a house or a car. And we try to keep up with the people around us. And so we get into debts. And then we thought, well, let me just earn more money or get a better job and all things will be okay. But we've seen our elders and our family members and our parents just live with this constant financial stress. And then we retire. So this is the way life has always been, right? And it's weird and it's uncomfortable sometimes, but actually what we're seeing now is that even with COVID and this incredible devastating crisis that it's been, we're also seeing that in every single obstacle, there's always opportunities. And there are some emerging pathways into the world of work. So what 4IR is doing in terms of disrupting work, COVID has basically accelerated that. And so now we're seeing the emergence of a road less traveled. And perhaps it's a road that you were actually on and you feel like, but this can't be right because no one is really talking about it. But now you see that we are actually more in control of your path than ever before. If you pay attention to what interests and excites you, you can find ways that actually you can test out, is this kind of work good for me? Never before have you had the opportunities available for you in terms of technology and tools and being able to connect to people around the world to explore entrepreneurial possibilities. Because no longer can you just depend on a single source of income. That is definitely a fleeting concept. And so Generation Zs, what they've done is seen what millennials and Gen Xs and the previous generations have done with money, and they want to be more financially savvy. So what's really great about this is that you are able to talk about money. Our parents and their parents weren't able to really talk about money in the past. So now we have books, we have people speaking about it, there's online courses, there's amazing tools available for you to actually engage with this very, very essential aspect of your life. So I love what we were sharing previously is that you are actually able to shape the future. There's potential and power in you that the world needs. And so this is something that I talk about incessantly with any young person I come across is don't be passive. The world needs your creativity. They need your insights. They need your abilities. And so find out about how you can shape the future. If you are lucky enough to get into the graduate intern program at PPS, they do amazing intentional work in helping to see who you are, what you're about, what you can do, and they definitely dig it out. So be open to those opportunities. You have graduated now into the University of Life, and so you're never going to stop learning. So be open, be humble, and try and be aware of what it is you still need to learn. So how can you shape the future intentionally? Well, make sure you live below or within your means. We've seen now with COVID and all of the loss of income that people who are living just paycheck to paycheck are now actually in a major crisis in terms of their personal finances. So all of the stuff that you hear, the boring stuff about saving and investing and having 3 months of income saved up, guys, this is why they talk about it, because in times of crisis, this is actually what we need to do. This is also where you can experiment with different work scenarios. So we feel that the optimal path to work will be a full-time position. And if you get that, that's awesome. But there's also many opportunities that you can explore if that doesn't come to you immediately. So look at part-time work, look at freelance work, starting your own business on the side. There's actually amazing research that shows that if you are actually building your business on the side while you have a full-time job, you are learning so much about branding and actually creating your products and actually marketing to specific clients, and all of that stuff you're learning about how to actually make a sale will inform your work in your organization. So even if you don't start your business yet, just be curious. Try and think outside of your job description. How do they make the income? How do they sell to clients? What are the products? What is the processes? How does this business work behind the scenes? I promise you, if you can start looking at that, employers will start to notice you, because then you'll be looking at showcasing a depth of knowledge and understanding. And your voice and your comments will be much more welcome if you do that. So this is how you can continually increase your value in the marketplace and become a global leader. Now, if you remember nothing else in my presentation, I want you to think about this slide. Get this into your mind. This is the major shift in terms of the way we work these days. We've always heard this from our parents and our grandparents. A jack of all trades is a master of none. Well, now in the portfolio career, you are actually going to master multiple crafts. So you have now a set of skills that you've gained with your degree qualification. You'll be expanding your soft skills, which is now actually essential skills. But always think about, how can I upskill? How can I cross skill? And where do I need to reskill in order to be able to expand what I can offer to the marketplace? Yes, I am quoting myself in this one, is because it took me 22 years to learn this very, very valuable lesson when it came to my relationship with work. There's a difference between working hard to prove your worth and working hard because you know your worth. So at the current stage of life, you are going to be finding out that you might be waiting for a work feedback process to tell you, I'm valuable, I can do this. And that's fine, but you will be hopefully expanding your skills and growing your character to realize that it's what I bring to the workplace that matters most. In each area that we spoke about that makes up your wholeness aspect, any relationship, family relationship, romantic relationship, friendship relationship, the quality of that relationship is determined by what you bring to this empty vessel. If you bring negativity and toxicity and just like demanding things all the time, obviously that's going to take away from the person that you're in a relationship with. The same thing for your career. What can I bring to my career? Because actually you are in a position of power when you start out in the workplace or any stage, because you have something to give. So find out, what is this thing that I have to give that is so important, and how can I make sure I bring it into this space? Finances especially. Don't wait to get a specific number in a paycheck to feel now I'm worthy. Think about, what do I need to be able to build the life that I want, and work from a place of worthiness. So, will I get a job? This is now the biggest fear, anxiety that you're feeling at the moment. You might have been sending out your CVs or looking at what's going out there in the world, and will I get a job is top of your mind right now. It's probably keeping you from really having a good night's sleep. We need to actually make a distinction between what is a job and what is your work. So a job, any job, is an opportunity to apply and develop both personal and professional skills in a specific environment. So that's a job. Your work, your cumulative work, is actually the unique impact that only you can make in the world around you. So this distinction is just so important, because people think the job is going to give me identity, the job is going to give me purpose. No, you bring your work into that environment and you define that. So do you see how shifting from passivity is so important? This is the best career advice I ever received. Don't just leave a job, always graduate from a job. And I think we're seeing a theme here is that you will always be graduating. So think about what you've done to graduate now. You've had to be intentional. You've had to make decisions. You've had to make multiple choices in terms of your relationships, career, and finances. And you've had to keep growing. You've had to keep saying yes to doing difficult things, because that was the only way for you to cross the finish line. So it's the same thing that you will encounter in your relationships, career, finances, in any job that you will have. Don't just leave because it's difficult. Find out, what is it that is causing me to be anxious in this role? What is the conflict? What is the thing that I'm expecting? And make sure that you always graduate. Determine what are the skills do you want to have in a job before you actually take it. So these are the things that I wish someone told me when I started working at age 17, people, 17 years old, I started working. But I wish someone told me that you will never stop learning. So 17, 27, 37, however, whatever your age is, you will keep learning. You will continue to keep growing and moving forward. And then also, work experience is a golden key. So wherever you're able to get your work experience, whether it's an internship program, whether it's part-time work. Employers just want to know that you are able to, that you understand what
Hello,
it means to turn up on
where you
time,
from
to
Michigan?
report
Welcome
to a
to
manager and get a
Canada.
job done. So I think someone's not muted there in the background. And then work is sacred. You will spend a third of your life working. A third of your life you'll spend sleeping, and the other third is everything else. So you'll decide whether I hate work or whether I'm going to let work work for me and help me to develop the life that I want. And number four, and this is so crucial, money matters. The financial decisions that you make in your 20s affect your entire life. You should take control as soon as you can. And I also did not listen to this when I was in my 20s. I'm like, what are these people talking about? It doesn't apply to me. I want to enjoy my money. I didn't have stuff when I was growing up. But that mentality actually caused me to get into over R1 million of debt. Yeah, I said R1 million of debt, which I had to pay off over 4 years in my 30s. And now I live debt free. But I wish I could go back to my 20-year-old self and shake her a little bit and say, Cheryl, you are ruining your future. Sorry, I didn't mean to shout. I get very passionate about this part. Please pay attention to your finances, is what I'm trying to say. So when you are thinking about any job opportunity at any point in your life, don't think that this is the conventional approach. What can I get? What is the salary? What are the benefits? What are the office hours? Who do I get to work with? When will I get promoted? These are all what's in it for me in questions. The way that you can apply a growth mindset to any job opportunity is, who can I become in this role? And that's more powerful for your ultimate success plan. Ask yourself, what will I learn? How can I contribute value in this organization? What skill set or skill sets will I be able to apply, technical and non-technical skills? How will this role help me grow personally and professionally? Are there people that in the team that I'm inspired by, that I want to learn from so I can grow into becoming more like them? How will this stretch and challenge me beyond my comfort zone? So these questions can be so crucial in helping you decide which route you want to take, because if we have no identity apart from our jobs, like Dan Miller says, then we are truly vulnerable. So we need to really understand that work is an aspect of our lives, but it doesn't define our entire lives. So this is ultimately the question, right? You're like, Cheryl, that's all wonderful. This is all great, but show me the money. Okay, will I be successful? Because this is somehow the picture we have in our heads of future success in the workplace. It's like, I'm going to have enough money to solve all my problems. I never have to worry about money again. The biggest misconception about money is, I don't have to manage money now because when I make enough money, I'll never have to worry about money. Making more money is not a guarantee that you'll be able to manage money in the future. That's not going to solve your money problems. Research has shown, recent research by the Discovery Bank has shown that our middle class or middle income earners in South Africa, most of them are spending all of their money. Only a quarter of them have actually saved up the requisite 3 months of salary, and most of them are actually living beyond their means. So if you don't address these mindset core belief issues now, trust me, I speak from experience, it is going to bite you in the butt. Ultimately, when it comes to finances, we're always working with the core beliefs. What you really believe about money, what you really believe about rich people, is always going to impact the behavior that you see with money. This is why you could go to seminars and listen to YouTube videos and hear people talk about how to have a budget, how to plan up, how to save, how to invest. But if you don't believe that you are actually valuable, you're going to look for money to give you that assurance that you are valuable. And so in terms of your financial success, I just want to address some work myths that you might be having, or maybe you don't even know that you have these work myths. Number one, the organization owes me. So this goes back to the what's in it for me kind of mentality, right? So once you get a job, most people feel like, okay, I have a job now, I'll get a salary, and they're kind of like, okay, I've arrived. But actually, your employer needs you to work. They need you to bring value to the marketplace. So you have a transactional relationship with your company. The transformation is up to you. So Life is not fair, things are not easy. Once we accept that, it becomes much easier to lead in and actually offer value. Like I said, life is not fair. So we think life should be fair, especially because you perhaps really worked hard at university and it's been a process and you've climbed this mountain. You're like, okay, finally, when I get to work, it'll be easier. And like we've been telling you, this is actually beginning. So your time at university was kind of a teaser, it was a preparation. Like you were training, it was your training ground for the real world. A victim mindset here is going to impede your process. If you keep thinking life is going to be fair and you're coming up against obstacles, you won't be able to shift that to say, okay, I know life is not going to be easy. How can I use my resilience and break through these obstacles? Work with number 3. People will figure out what I'm capable of. So here, especially with first generation professionals, this is what I've noticed. And I've spoken to many different organizations who have graduate programs. And this is where our cultural stereotypes and cultural learnings actually kind of trip us up in the workplace. If you grow up in a culture where children were supposed to be seen, not heard, where you have to respect your elders, so you don't really speak up, you don't actually say what you feel in a respectful way, we actually take that subconsciously into the workplace. And so in order for people to know what you can do, you have to demonstrate that. You have to speak up, you have to show up at work, and you have to actually show, I'm here to work, I'm here to learn, I'm here to move things forward. If you don't do that, people can't read your mind. They don't know what's inside of you. This is why potential is something that has to be nurtured. It has to be pulled out. The work myth number 4, the right job will give me everything I need. And I've also fallen a victim to this mentality that I don't like this job. If I just find the next job, things are going to be better. And we apply this to other areas of our lives. If I'm stuck in this relationship, if I just find the next right person for me, then I'll be happy, right? So we're expecting external things to make us happy, but actually there is no perfect job. There's no perfect relationship. There's no perfect person. I hate to break it to you, but you're not a perfect employee of the future anyway. So how can you actually use work to bring out the best in you? I remember times in my life where I really struggled through certain seasons of work, and it was just amazing that just actually showing up on a day where I didn't feel like going to work, I didn't feel like driving in there, I didn't feel like facing those people, but just actually showing up helped me build a strength of character, because I realized that nothing is perfect in life. We have to perfect things. Work myth number 5. The professional world is problem free. I hate to break this to you people, but nothing is problem free. You are going to be employed in a role to solve problems. So you are always going to be facing challenges and conflicts and difficulties. So welcome to the real world where adults live. I love this quote by Fusi Temakwaya. He says, education becomes more relevant once you know what you want to do with it. So you might be kind of starting out in your work journey here in this zone. Your comfort zone, things are comfortable, but now I'm not sure how to move forward. Most people live here, actually. Majority of people live here. If you want to differentiate yourself, you need to actually learn how to live in the blue zone, the learning zone, where you are open to solving problems, facing difficulty, getting up in the morning, telling yourself whatever you need to get yourself into the best state of mind so that you can actually grow, surpass your milestones, expand your visions, define new goals. Those that will make it in the new world of work will become people who learn to live here. They will become the leaders who actually understand what it's like to move things forward and not wait for things to happen. So in these emerging pathways, yes, employment is a way for you to earn an income, but so is an inheritance. And don't we all wish we had those rich uncles like Bill Gates? I wish he was an uncle. Investing, please do that. Find out about that. Start now. If you start in your 20s, you will still surpass someone who started later on in life. It's the eighth wonder of the world called compound interest. And then entrepreneurship. And this is something I'm passionate about as an entrepreneur myself, but even applying entrepreneurship in your work environment can really help you to understand how the business world works. People are often trained how to make money, but they are not trained on how to manage money once they have it. So this is a major gap of financial literacy, and we have to start at financial literacy before we get to financial mastery. And as someone who always is teaching about this, I'm always learning in this space. So I just want to give you a caution about getting into debt. It does creep up on you. It places a strain on your relationships and your career. It happens over time, very, very slowly. And it comes with a heavy mental price, affects your productivity, and can take you down into a dark hole. So before you get into too much debt, research, find a plan on how you're going to pay it off. Don't let the debt monster steal from you. I'm almost done with my presentation, but before I finish up, I want to just kind of leave you with this question. This is what we use in our training, and this is what we use in our coaching. We often ask people to kind of think about the end. You know, Stephen Covey spoke about starting with the end in mind. So, what will people say about you when you die? It's a very uncomfortable question to think about when you are this age, but actually, this will help you to have a vision for your relationships, the work opportunities that you seek out, and also how you will use money to achieve that. So please write this down somewhere, and maybe you'll come across it in a couple of months and you'll start thinking about it. But what legacy do you want to leave? What life do you want to live? You know, there's also been a rise in people questioning 65 as the age of retirement. What if we actually live below our means, find a way to invest money that we can be able to actually live off, and then do the work that we want to do? Isn't that remarkable? That's incredible. So there's exciting shifts happening in the world of work, in the way that we work, in the way that we live our lives, really. And so this is why I think that wholeness is possible, because we no longer just have to have things handed down to us. We can start being in the driver's seat of our lives. And the way you do that is to become a lifelong student of yourself. How am I growing? What's tripping me up? What are the things that I see are patterns? Find coaches, find mentors, find people that you can really reflect with, and make sure that you are always growing yourself, because the more that you grow, the more successful you will become. So always think about, what kind of person do I need to become in order to have the success that I want? So guys, welcome to the real world. You're graduating into the University of Life. So you've had a bit of a pre-tester, and I believe that you have the superhero inside of you that can face any challenge and problems and crisis, because you already have shown that you are resilient by getting to this point in life. So just some final life hacks before we go. If you want to succeed, build a strong network of people who will coach and challenge you to keep growing. Develop a wide range of skill sets. Never stop developing them, because you will be able to sell them to multiple customers, not just one employer. And be creative then in how you build a portfolio career. And you can live, love, and work from a place of wholeness. Wholeness is definitely possible. Joseph Campbell says, we must be willing to let go of the life we planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us. And so I am sure that you have an exciting life awaiting you. Our services at Whole Person Academy is a first work program that helps graduates and interns to just deal with any gaps that they feel about how they can confidently transition into the world of work. We have a Wholeness at Work program that helps employees across their life cycle. And because of gender-based violence issues, it's also very close to my heart. We also have a program that helps victims in the workplace who are suffering from those issues. And we also do one-on-one career coaching, where we help graduates to actually develop a success map for themselves. So please keep in touch with us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or YouTube at Whole Person Academy. If you Google us, you will find us. Or you can just contact me directly. You will have this presentation at the end, so you'll have my contact details available to you. My closing message to you. I do believe that every single one of you today has what it takes to thrive as a whole person in the new world of work. I wish you all the best with your adventure.
I surely cannot be the only person who has goosebumps after listening to Cheryl speak. I hope we all took a little something from what she shared with us and utilize it in some way in our own personal capacity. After all, as a PPS Foundation, we believe in paying it forward.